Hi everyone, today we are looking at a question like this. Now, as you can see over here, it says that in the mathematics quiz, there were a total of 40 questions, okay? So total 40 questions, write that down first. So this is sentence number one, okay? Now, what happens is that students were awarded 4 marks for every correct answer. So you get 4 marks if you get each correct answer. And if you were to leave a question blank, you still get 1 mark, okay? So if you were to leave it blank, you still get 1 mark. Maybe that 1 mark could be the meta marks, right? So that is sentence number three. And then for sentence number four, it says that they are going to deduct 2 marks for each wrong answer. So if you answer wrongly, then they will minus 2. Now, so whenever you see a question like that, you realize that you need to use assumption or guess and check to solve a question like this, because you need to find how many questions are correctly answered, how many questions, are left empty, and how many questions are wrong. So what we want to do is we want to use assumption. Okay, so I'm going to write assumption over here. Okay, so I'm going to use assumption to solve a question like this. Now, but the problem with this is that there are 3 things that we have to consider. Okay, so what I like to do is instead of looking at 3 things, because it's going to be very, very difficult, right? If you have 3 things that you're going to assume. So what you want to do is you want to just look at 2. How do you do that? Okay, so let's take a look at sentence number 5, right? Now, in sentence number 5 says, Emily left 7 questions blank, which means to say she only answered 40 minus 7, which is equals to 33 questions. All right, so the number of questions answered, maybe you can in fact just add a caption over here. Number of questions answered. Okay, so this could be wrong or right, but number of questions answered would be 33. So we are going to just look at these 33 questions, and we are going to guess out of these 33, how many are correct, how many are wrong. Okay, the ones that are left blank, we have already removed it. And the reason why I want to remove the ones that are left blank is simply because I do not want to have 3 things that I will have to assume. Okay, it is going to be extremely difficult. Okay, so what I want to do now is, since I know I have removed the questions that are left blank, I'm going to just focus on the 33. And I know that these 33 questions, okay, will give me less than 103 marks, because do you remember just now, if you were to get 7 questions blank, you still get 1 mark each, right? So what we want to do is we also want to remove, okay, all right, from 103. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to say marks attained from the 33Q. So how do we go about that? We just simply have to do 103 minus away, because 7 questions blank, each question 1 mark, so minus away 7. All right. So you simply have to do 103 minus away 7, you get 296 marks. Okay, so we are going to use these to help us to find. Okay, now so you can start off by using my acronym, which is @doc. Okay, I find that this is one of the better ways to remember how does assumption work. What am I going to assume? I'm going to assume that all 33 questions are correct. Okay, you never want to assume that all 33 questions are wrong. Why is that so? Because if all 33 questions are wrong, then I will not score anything, right? So now once I'm done with this, right, if I'm going to times, I'm just simply going to do 33 times 4. Okay, why is that so? Because all 33 are correct, and each question you are awarded 4 marks. Okay, so you get 132 marks. Okay, now and in terms of the extra, you realize, okay, the actual is 96. Okay, this is the actual, but what you have assumed is basically whatever that is over here. All right, so what we're going to do for extra, we usually do actual minus assume, or assume minus actual, whichever is more, right? Because if you want to minus, you have to make sure that it has to be big minus small. So what you are going to do now is simply look at your assume, which is 132, minus away 96, okay, and you will get to an answer of 36 marks. Now, once you have this, right, what you want to do next is to find the difference. Now, this difference is always the single difference. Okay, the difference between one correct question and one wrong question. So one correct question, you get 4. All right, and if you get it wrong, you have to minus 2. So therefore, over here, this gives me 4 minus minus 2, that is actually 4 plus 2, which is equals to 6. Now, let me just draw a number line for you to see, okay? If I get it correct, I will get 4 marks, isn't it? If I get it wrong, I will have to subtract 2 marks, right? So what is the difference? The difference is simply whatever that is over here. So as you can see over here, this is -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Now you have to count the number of gaps. 2 gaps, 3 gaps, 4, 5, 6. And this explains why, as you can see over here, this is 6. And not just 6, but also 6 marks. Okay? Now, once you're done with this, you want to do O. O means the opposite. So my students know that when it comes to opposite, all right, it will always be E over D. Now, what do I mean by E? E basically the answer from here divided by D as in the answer from here. So therefore, over here, all you need to do is simply just 36 divided by 6, and you get to 6. Now, then you are wondering, 6 what? Okay, because remember just now we were doing 36 marks divided by 6 marks. So when I divide, what happens? Anything that is the same in my division will be removed, right or not? So it's actually 36 marks divided by 6 marks. So therefore, your answer cannot be 6 marks anymore. It has to be 6 questions. And to be very specific, right, it will be 6 wrong questions. Now, if you're wondering why is it wrong questions, because it is opposite of what you have assumed. Okay, so if you assume all are correct, then the opposite must be all are wrong, isn't it? All right, and that is what we call my hidden information. Now, what you want to do is you want to check now, right? So I'm going to draw, what I like to do whenever I get to the check portion, I like to draw a number bond, and I like to say that since there are 40 questions in total, all right, and just now we were just focusing on the 33 questions, okay? So out of these 33, how many are correct and how many are wrong? Okay, so we applied the assumption method and we realized that 6 questions are wrong. And if 6 questions are wrong, then how many are correct? 33 minus 6. And we all know that when I do 33 minus 6, I get to 27. So here's what I'm going to do in order for me to check, I just have to do 27 questions times 4 marks, right? Why is that so? Because for correct questions, you are awarded 4 marks plus 6 questions times 2 marks. Why is that so? Because for every wrong question, they are going to subtract 2 marks. I apologize. I should have minus over here, right? Because for wrong questions, you have to deduct, right? So when I do 27 times 4, we get to 108 over here. And when I minus 12, I realize that I will get to 96. Now then, if you're wondering, oh no, I think I made a mistake. No, that's not true. Now remember how 96 marks is actually the actual, all right, as you can see over here, but this is only for the 33 questions, not forgetting that you have another 7 questions which you have attained or which you have received 7 marks, because that 7 questions are the questions that you left empty or blank, right? So therefore over here, you just have to do 96 plus 7 and you realize that you get to 103, and 103, as you can see, it is the total marks that this person has scored, and it is stated in the question. So now the question says, how many questions did she answer correctly? Therefore, your answer, okay, for the questions that are answered correctly is actually 27 questions answered correctly. Okay, so I hope this video helps you to understand how are you supposed to solve a question like this.